Welcome, Sagittarius, to your September Astrodice reading. Hope you friends are doing great out there. If you friends like this, hit that big old like button and subscribe. Okay, friends, let's see what's going on with you. Best messages coming out. Roll the dice. Looks like we have some Scorpio energy coming out with the 10th house. With some North Node over here going on. The North Node is the soul's mission. Okay. It suggests experiences that are in line with your soul's destiny and from which you can gain advancement in your spiritual development and karmic path. It appears to be speaking of karmic gain and soul growth. And we're going to be using Vesta for that, since that's the spirit, the center of spirit over here. Let's see what's going on here. Vesta, Vesta, Vesta. The goddess within your sacred spiritual center and quiet dignity. It's got that soul purpose. Vesta is a part of the sun, so it's still diving deep within those karmic areas, and with, of course, that soul purpose. Okay, and over here we have doing it Scorpio style. This energy is intense, masterful, thoughtful, and magnetically charming, but also secretive and possessive. Bring straight into the 10th house. This is the area of your life that is overwhelming you. You yield to a greater cause of power. So whatever is overwhelming your spiritual growth, whatever is overwhelming you to get back on your journey, or with you being on your soul's journey, right? It's kind of like, okay, so what is the purpose? There feels like there's some kind of maybe hidden agenda, hidden meaning here that you're not seeing for some of you. So let's dive deeper into this and see what's going on throughout the month when we're talking about this 10th house. Of course, what's overwhelming you is going to be a lot different from you to somebody else, right? So take what resonates, what doesn't resonate, throw away. It's meant for someone else, and let's get going. And remember, guys, time is a little fluid. So, even if it says the beginning of the month, it might start coming right towards that mid-month, right? And whatever's happening in the mid-month might actually be starting to really pick up pace in the end month. So, and same with the end month going into the next month. Okay, so just remember that. This is just where we're picking up the energy. Best messages for the situation, going straight into the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, and the end of the month. The beginning of the month is talking about that creativity, romance, charm, imagination, following your heart, following your heart's passion over here when you're on your soul's journey. It's like, I need to follow this. This is where my heart is calling me, right? There could be some kind of manipulation or some kind of self-expression going on. Maybe you haven't expressed yourself enough when it comes to this soul's journey. You're trying to follow your heart, but maybe you're not expressing it enough, right? If we're trying to manifest something as well to come through, maybe you're not using enough action, enough expression. When we're also talking about, manifesting, we're also be talking about maybe when you're scripting, you're not using enough expressive words, right? You need to have that clarity and understanding of what it truly is to be able to, right, really get what it is you're trying to do for that wealth, for that protection, for that overall success, right? But it does feel like it's more, when we're talking about following this destiny, it does feel like it's more on a money making. What am I really choosing, or how am I going to get there? I'm following my heart for this abundance, for this overall success. Excuse me. Spirit is saying right now it's time to really take on some leadership skills, really get overly disciplined, right? Really put in that discipline. And we just got out of that strawberry moon, which was talking about putting in that discipline, right? Wanting that discipline, but also keeping yourself in a grounded energy. And this here is the King of Pentacles, which is talking about grounded energy, making sure that it's not too far out, right, to where I can't reach it, right? Right now, I need something a little more grounded, something that I can get there, something that's not going to allow me to just feel like everything I'm doing is all talk and I'm having a hard time getting to this place, right? I'm having a hard time planting my feet. So you might want to feel like you're getting more in touch with your feelings with the Knight of Cups about what it truly is you want to ensure that you're really taking care of that lifestyle, taking care of what it is you're looking for. So let's clarify on the Knight of Cups. Yep, doing it all, carrying a lot of burdens. Here comes that overwhelming. Here comes that 10th house of saying, this is where I feel like I'm carrying all this weight, or it's becoming stressful. It's becoming a burden. I'm feeling like I'm having a rough time getting to where it is that I need to be. I'm engaging in all these situations, but it just feels like they're not complementing each other the way my feeling is compared to where I'm going, right? It's something's imbalanced, for sure. And definitely feeling like there is a lot of opportunities. There is a lot of daydreaming about the situation, wanting and searching for that purpose. Well, that purpose is that, here we go with that North Node, feeling like I have to get in touch with this, making a lot of choices. And it does feel like whatever's going on over here, when we're talking about the kind of all talk, right, in the self-expression, it's kind of like, am I giving myself enough choices? Right? It almost feels like there could be a restriction. Some of you, I feel like you're restricting a situation that's not allowing the door to open. You might be trying to say it can only happen this way, and you're not giving and allowing the universe to give you enough choices. So you're restricting your daydreams. Right? Overthinking the situation is really what it feels like. Yeah, so it's causing friction against your destiny. It's causing friction against your success. Right? So it's saying what you need to do is provide yourself, right, with more openness and no restrictions. Allowing yourself to become more disciplined in that area. Yes, look at the bigger picture for what it's for. You already have the daydreaming and understanding, but there doesn't need to be any restrictions. Just take that leadership role. Take that challenge. Okay. Do not allow yourself to have any kind of mental fighting within yourself, right? There's no reason to do that. There's no, it's almost like you're clashing against yourself. So Spirit says there's no reason to be clashing against yourself right now as you're getting these opportunities. You just need to, keep going. Allow these things to just flow. Don't look at everything from, a restrictive point. Okay. Going straight into the mid-month. Mid-month is talking about, yes, having some kind of emotional pain. There could be some kind of separation, depression, something. You guys might also be dealing with someone of some kind of betrayal. Somebody who's not seeing it your way, but you are definitely seeing this tower moment, right, where it's this awakening of the understanding of where it's going to make you feel stronger. So all of a sudden you're going to have this tower moment, because you're going to have this upsetness, and this upsetness could come from a Leo, it could come from a Scorpio, right? But it's kind of like right, and it's going to be in a very intense. I see the Scorpio coming up so far this month is an intense energy, right? And kind of possessive as well. And I feel like the possessiveness is just at the beginning of the month where it's like I'm giving it restrictions. I'm trying to control outcomes. You can't control outcomes, right? We put it out there. The universe controls the rest. We just take the action, right? So this is saying that I become more confident utilizing this period. This is going to give you a utilization period of renovating and renewing, right, the challenges. And therefore, it's kind of like, because this tower is happening, it's going to make me wake up to that situation, and it's going to want me to reevaluate what's going on around this situation. And it's actually going to allow me, it's going to allow you, right, to become more confident. Yeah. There comes the sun. So after the pain, the grief, and the tower, you're definitely going to feel this happiness coming through. But it was the best thing. It's kind of crazy because it's kind of like, yeah, it's going to bring out the sun for you. But it's also kind of like it's a blessing. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a blessing in disguise because you have the sun and the ace of pentacles. This grief and this tower moment that you're going, this chaos that you're going through, is actually going to be a blessing in disguise. Wow, there's that Scorpio again saying there's something secretive, something hidden going on. When it comes to this is actually going to move you towards your abundance. It's going to move you towards what it is you're trying to manifest, what you're trying to put together over here, right? Even though you might not see it right away, it's like the building blocks of getting to the next step, right? And it's kind of funny because it's kind of like saying it's going to be hidden. It's hidden. You're not going to really see that that's exactly what it's doing, but Spirit is saying this is what it's doing. I have to remove this old piece or this old way of thinking or this person or whatever and do a shakeup, because this shakeup that I'm going to bring, this devastating shakeup, is going to actually change you into this beautiful Queen of Wands, because you're going to kind of throw your hands up and say, you know what, screw it all, right? And then it's going to bring in this more confident you. But it's that blessing in disguise. It's that need to happen. It's going to, there it is, change your whole world, allow you to dance within the universe, get you ready and really putting you into a new chapter, a new cycle of fulfillment and attainment to where you need to be. So it's going to kind of quantum leap you. It's forcing you out of, like I said, either one way of thinking or one way of being. Let's just put it that way. So that you can have that wholeness and feel that accomplishment. That way you can actually start getting to what it is you're trying to really do over here. Okay, so going straight to the end of the month. Ooh, the end of the month. Find your inspiration and start to take that action. So it's definitely, as you're building up that courage, it's definitely saying you're going to start becoming more inspired towards the end of the month as you're really, watching yourself grow over here, feeling more determined, because this tower is really bringing in, that determination. Excuse me. So it's talking about becoming more balanced emotionally as you're really progressing and watching activity start moving and expanding. Yeah, it's going to be overwhelming, and that tower is not going to be very nice for a lot of you, right? But it is something that's going to move you into that leadership mode, right? And this is where you're going to feel like, you have that inner calling, and there's that inner calling talking about that North Node. So it is talking about finally getting into that new phase, that new chapter, as you're arriving to the new chapter in the mid-month, because of the tower, that it's shifting you out of what no longer serves you, right, to bring you what you really need. It's kind of taking you out of a comfort zone, is what it feels like. But it's definitely talking about this awakening and this, this redemption of what it is you truly need, on the preparing and expanding what it is you truly are looking for. It's talking about, making sure that you are using the patience. The overwhelming is going to, kind of stay, and it feels sporadic, but you're moving towards it, moving away from it, beautifully, because of that Queen of Wands. But it definitely is talking about, this is where you're going to really have to be more sensible about the situation. Remember, we talked about that up here in the very beginning of the month. But this is really about finding that meaning and that purpose, because now you're really going to be able to really focus. The Queen of Wands is also a very focused woman, queen, right? So she's very determined and very focused. So that's going to allow you to see, right, what it is you truly want, and really watching those ships kind of coming in over here as you're looking out there, right, as you're taking that action. But it is definitely saying that I'm going to moderately move into this direction, and things are moderately moving. Right? This isn't something that's going really fast. It's just something that's happening very moderately as you're kind of rebalancing yourself. It says you're going to be staying emotionally balanced and trying to get back that balance as much as possible, as this struggle is overwhelming you and you're kind of on the edge, but it feels like the overwhelming is more on the edge, right? Because you're moving away from it. little by little. So it's, exhausting. You might feel a little fatigued about the situation. It is definitely overwhelming, but it is definitely, it's there. It's definitely there, right? It's still in the midst. It's still like a fog, still hovering around you, right? But you are like, I don't know. You know what I see in my mind's eye? It's kind of a crazy vision. But I literally see this fog, and I see like a hair dryer, like you know what I mean? Kind of like when you like steam off of a mirror. That's what I'm seeing. Like you're blowing the mist back, the fog back with this like hair dryer. I don't know where I get these ideas, but it's like whatever comes in to make me understand, that's fine. How crazy they are, I don't care. It's like my great imagination. Let's go, right? But that's what I see. It's like, I'm gonna blow that away, so that I can make it to this new phase. Because where you're making it, you're having this awakening and understanding that, and you will all of a sudden have this understanding that, oh my God, that tower happened because now that Ace of Pentacles, I'm starting to really see it come in. Wow, I'm starting to see, right? Starting to see clearly now. I'm starting to have a better understanding of why that happened, because that was so much of a comfort zone, or I was trying to walk around a situation that no longer served me. And I can't have this if I have that. So it literally opened that door. So it's definitely having this kind of like absolution of thought and understanding that it's like, that was shit, that hurt bad, but it's allowing me now to move. And yes, it's coming in a little slower and steady than I wanted it to, but you're starting to see the growth and achievement starting to, it's kind of like the underlining. It's kind of like, okay, so you have this fog, you're blowing it back with the hairdryer. As the fog is dissipating, you're starting to see this castle appear. You know what I'm saying? Like you're starting to see the outlines of the castle that you want to be at. You're starting to see the outlines of what it is you're manifesting, where you need to be, right? And that's actually a good thing, because it's going to make you want to change. And it's also it might be even changing around routines, right? So you might now have to do something different from what you did before to become more productive. So you might even be changing up routines a little bit, right? Maybe I want to do this instead of that, or bringing in more creativity with the Queen of Wands, saying I'm focused and determined, but I want to use this creativity, and maybe it's not working this way, so I want to be a little different and bring in a little more creative things. So this is going to bring in that rest and relaxation. So anything that made you feel like you were a little exhausted towards the real end of the month over here, between the 29th through the 30th or the 31st, or however it is, it's now saying, oh, I can see. Because look, no matter what, you have inner resources, and you're really digging into those inner resources, even though you're struggling. Why? You would say, why? Why would I be digging at inner resources if I'm so overwhelmed? Because you know that whatever just happened is not helping. So I have to think differently. Well, shit, that fell through. Now I have to rework that. I got to figure out how to fix this. So you'll definitely be using the inner resources. But the good thing is you're going to be keeping yourself pretty calm with the temperance over here about the situation, even though you may feel you're a little stressed out. We can still be calm and be stressed out at the same time. Everybody knows that. It's just what it is it's a frustration, right? Because it's going to be like mind over heart situation. Because you know that there's only one, it's going to be that way. It has to be that way, because otherwise you won't have an absolution to the new phase. It's almost like it just comes to you. You just know it. You're in the knowing, my friends. Your crown chakra is super open. You're like, okay, I'm either going to sit over here and struggle, or I'm going to understand what's going on with the situation. Then all of a sudden the contemplation, as soon as you understand everything that's going on around you, then you're going to relax. That stress is going to go away. You're going to say, shit, I got it. You're going to. Yes, because you're going to have the sudden awareness. Now you have the Four of Swords to the Four of Cups. Absolutely. Because now you're going to say, I accept what's going on. I may not like that I had this tower that really threw its shit at me, but it had to go, and it was a blessing in disguise from the universe. Remember that. We know it is. to change my life around, or my thinking, or the people in my life, or my job, or whatever the hell it is, right? It's going to be different for everybody, right? Whether it's relationships, work, the way I work, people, right? But remember, it's all about whatever happened in the very beginning of the month. So therefore, it's not some kind of like, oh, I'm not sure what it could possibly be. No, you know what it is. You know, you use that discernment because you know where you're following your heart. You know where you're trying to get to, right? So it's like, if that's, you know what your goal is. That's where the tower is coming, is for that goal, right? And that's, you know, and a lot of you, I think it's because you know that, oh, some of you, I am just going to, you know, that's it. Some of you know there's a tower going to happen in some ways, but you've been trying to maneuver around it and stay in a comfort zone and try to work around those situations without having to kick that out. And God says, no, I'm kicking that out. And then you're not going to see it because you're going to say, but I was holding on to that. I wanted that, or I didn't want to let that go. I didn't want that to happen. And then the blessing comes in and says, I'm just going to remove it anyways. It's not healthy. You know it's not healthy. You know you can't have that. You see what I'm saying? And it's all for what? For realigning, right? For you realigning and getting back into alignment for what your soul purpose is. Because whatever this tower is, it's saying that is not a part of your soul purpose. It may have had its purpose at one time, but now it's done. I need to move on. We need to grow. We need to move past this so we can get to the next piece of the puzzle. We're on a journey over here, guys. You know, we can't just sit and, you know, if we're the Wizard of Oz, we just can't just kick it in Munchkin land. Okay? All day. I mean, think about it, right? I always see the soul's journey as, you know, these crazy little movies. Because in seriousness, Dorothy had, you know, she had to go get Ruby's slipper. She had to make it back. Her overall goal was to make it back home to Kansas. That's where your goal is, to make it back home to the collective. Take your journey, learn what you learn, and go home, right? If she just kicked it in Munchkin land, she's not going to find the ruby slippers to return back to Kansas, right? To Aunt Em and everybody. You cannot sit over here in this area over here. You need to move now and go find the Tin Man or whatever. You see what I'm saying? It's time. I mean, I think that's the easiest way. I always teach my kids that way. I always say, you know what? Whatever I teach my kids must be the best way because it's easier to understand. So it's all about self-care and self-love. Booyah, there it is. You having compassion for yourself on your soul's journey and the universe having compassion for you. I also see the Queen of Cups as a beautiful soul. She's my spirit guide when she comes in, so maybe that's why I always see her as spirit guide. It's kind of like your higher self spirit guide, you know, pushing that compassion out to everyone. Right, as you, this can always be guardian angel as well when we're doing spiritual readings. But for some reason, I was just like, you know what, your higher self is saying, you know what, have that self-love, have that compassion, look deep into that cup, for inside that cup that she is holding has all the answers, my friend. That is the key. She's holding the key to everything that we have within us. Because that's where the intuitive, caring, self-love, stability, everything that you need is right there, right? And yeah, as you're on your soul's journey to get to the goal, this is a card of soul's goal. This is it, soul's goal, soul's destiny. So no matter what, I always say, you're being guided by your higher self, your spirit guide into this area. And as they do so, the universe, what you think the universe doesn't listen to what your spirit guides have to say? You know what? She's been sitting over here in Munchkin land. You know, she needs to like move on. And you know what? Or she's been dealing with that wicked witch way too long. You know, we need to send Glinda in. You know what I mean? However you want to see it, I don't care. Get imaginative. It's all good, right? And this is where you're going to find that rejuvenation and really start moving on. And that's really what this is. This is almost more of a, a very spiritual reading because of those karmic nodes, right? Saying it's time to move. Oh, you don't want to move? I'm going to make you move. Okay, guys, but you got this, and you know what? It's looking beautiful. And remember, I love it. I love it. I love it because these are really your overall cards. Is those two cards plus victory. Saying, I'm moving you towards where your achievements need to be. If you want that promotion, then you need to get rid of this. If you're dealing with somebody who's devious and deceptive, but you don't want to get rid of them, I'm getting rid of them for you so that you can have what your achievements are. So be on the lookout. And it doesn't matter how big or how small. Don't think of the tower as having to be so overwhelming. Oh my God, my house. Don't even think about anything that overwhelming. It could be just something, enough just to sword you, enough to just make pain. It could be an argument that you didn't want to have. It could, what I'm saying, that ends up making you separate. Whatever it is, don't think that it has to be something so over devastating that your whole world came tumbling down. Please don't see it like that because, that is not always the situation. Sometimes it's just as small as a ladybug that can turn things on a dime, right? Just change the whole setting of your world and allow you to quantum leap in towards something different. Okay. Till next time, my friends. Peace and love. Bye bye.